Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to Let Them Trade, a fantastic little city builder slash trading game developed by Spaceflower. Now, so as I said previously in the tutorial episode, Spaceflower has very graciously allowed us early access to Let Them Trade, so I've been playing it a little bit in my own time, really quite enjoying it, and now I'm able to release a couple of episodes. Now the embargo has been lifted, or at least should be by the time you're watching. It's kind of funny how time works, isn't it? So, what we're going to do in this one, we're going to play the first mission, Branching Out. The kingdom is lacking wood production, and while the forests are a rich source of lumber, they're also sparsely populated. Build up the population and expand wood production. Okay, let's give it a little shot. Greetings, loyal subject. Mr. Nuts and I have decided we need to spruce, I like it, the kingdom's wood production, and this forest seems like a fine area for lumber. We will firstly need to establish an economy before we build up a population of workers, then we can expand and optimize wood production. Sadly, I will not be able to oversee this personally as the outdoors wreak absolute havoc on my complexion. That's when I thought of you. You don't care about complexions, do you? I didn't think so. Now let's get to work. Doodaloo. Alright, let's go. So, first thing we need to do is establish a basic economy. Build two cities, one to produce wood and the other to produce potatoes. So let's get that done. We can, I think over here is probably a good idea for our potatoes. So, I mean, it could have also been quite good for our wood getting, but it's fine. I think it's nice to have a couple of places that can produce potatoes. So let's get 2 potatoes and 2 peasants. And then let's also think about where we want to put our lumber areas. So I think over here, and then we potentially go lumber, 2 lumber and 2 peasants. We can always expand these out further. And then more importantly, let's make sure that we have a road connecting both of them. There we go. Excellent. And then make sure we're also connecting up the castle as much as we can. Now, what do we have to think about first? Well, we've got our city centers built. We've got our peasants area being built. We've also got our castle area over here. Whole bunch of things we could scout as well. With our knight, I think we'll hold off a little bit for just now and just lease until we're a little bit more situated to expand. Part of me also thinks, given that we actually need to produce an awful lot of wood, is we potentially build another city centre down here with the wood production over there as well. We can have this sort of area up here purely for wood, and we can have a sort of split one for wood and planks, which I know we're kind of going against what the main quest is saying, but I think we actually want to get that set up sooner rather than later. So let's get another 2 wood. This is going to drive the price down, which is going to be a little bit bad, but I'm sure we'll manage. And then let's also get, say, like a sawmill and another peasant area over here. Good stuff. A little bit of a shame to be building on some fertile land, but we should be okay for potatoes with our first initial city. Now, let's also produce some additional potatoes. We'll also make sure to build another peasant. Get these guys in collective farming, so we're producing more. And then make sure that we've got some lumberjacks built as well. Same over here. Make sure we're producing the lumberjacks. And then we've got our sawmill going at it as well. And there we go. Perfect. All tiles have been revealed. Fine work. Look at those little settlements. How quaint. But fine words doth butter no parsnips, nor chop any wood for that matter. I've allotted you more land to develop. It's time to get really serious. Let's go. Okay, so we need to get a whole bunch more peasants. We're going to need many more inhabitants to work as lumberjacks. Wood doesn't grow in trees, you know. I think it's kind of the point. Grow the population so that we have enough workers to meet the production requirements. Okay, so we're going to need to get some more peasants, which means that we need to make sure that we're supplying them with all their basic needs. Now, how do we do that? We have to make sure that they have both wood and potatoes. Now, we should be absolutely fine for wood. We have a lot of places that are producing wood as we stand. We'll just have to make sure that we're doing enough there. Now, for the castle itself, we need to make sure as well that we're going to build a research area. Currently, we don't need to build a provisioner, which is good. Don't need to worry about that for the meantime. We got another peasant home completed. Windmere is going to be very nice. And we also need to make sure that well, it's not going to be so much of an issue in this episode, but certainly if we go further on into like some free play stuff, we need to make sure that the budgets between our relative towns kind of stay equal. You don't want to have like one town incredibly rich and the other town poor, because it means that all of a sudden, well, you know, the one that's really poor can't import anything, which is bad. That's how you make money. Doesn't matter how rich your towns are. If your budget is bad, then you're not making money, and you need to make money. It's just the way it works. And how do you make money? Trade. I mean, specifically trade that isn't just coming to us. If we can help that, that'd be fantastic. Or certainly make sure that we're doing that a little bit more. How are you doing? You've run out of wood, which seems a little bit strange given that, you know, you are a place that produces wood, but then again, I imagine it's because we don't currently have enough peasants. Now, we have grand total of, what is that? Not quite 6 peasant areas. Let's put you down. We'll just make you produce some more wood. That'd be good. We'll make sure as well that you're a lumberjack guild. You are obviously collective. Indeed you are. And you should be producing planks. Wonderful. And we've actually got our research done there. So what do we want to do here? I think what we want to do is we want to make sure... Let's actually upgrade the peasant home, and we want to get an upgraded potato farm and lumberjack. Let's actually do the lumberjack after the peasant, and then we can upgrade the sawmill after that again. Reason being that obviously as part of this mission, we want to go ahead and chop down a lot of wood. And chopping the wood's going to really rely on the lumberjacks, to be perfectly honest with you. So getting some nice upgrades for that would be very helpful. Now, Windmere is going to be very useful for us because this is obviously going to be our planks production. Maybe we could actually even get rid of another forest tile and get some additional planks. That is something we could do. I actually think we're going to upgrade this. It's going to be a little bit costly, but it's just so we can get some additional working space. Because we can get another sawmill, we can get some more peasants, and that's going to be very, very useful for us. Wheatlow itself. Wheatlow, surprisingly enough, is actually selling planks as well, which we do need for our research, of course. So it's good that it is selling planks. We just want to make sure that everything is still taking over rather nicely. Currently, our storages aren't that great, but at least the price is pretty low. Usually when it has a sort of blue marker like this, the price is kind of all right. These red markers, I think both mean the price is high and also maybe that you just don't have any. Like we can see now that wool is currently in demand and we don't have any in production. Same with fish. These are both luxury resources for our peasants. We can see here that they have a luxury thing. So if you were to provide them, we can see that it gives you some happiness influence, and it gives you a rate of consumption depending on the number of peasants in a location. We can see here that the consumption of resources is slightly higher in a place with 2 peasants in comparison when there's only 1. Now this will also include when we get additional peasants as well, which we will get now at the peasant home level 2. Fantastic. Where do we want to do this? I think personally we want to do that, as we say, sort of down here. That's more like it. This kind of wood production, Mr. Nuts, and I had man, you really have a knack for deforestation and the destruction of old growth trees. Congratulations. Oh, there you go. We've actually just already finished the scenario. Pretty nice and easy. All it took was 2 cities producing wood. We didn't even have to even upgrade anything. We've just done. That's how professionals do it, apparently. Let's finish it up. Perfect. All right. Well, that's rather short and sweet. I guess we have to do the next episode as well. Okay, sorry about that. Door just went, but we're back here with the game. Now, what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted is I don't think that just having one mission in today's video is going to be enough, or particularly fair, because it's going to be quite a short video. We got through that first mission pretty quickly, actually, all things considered. So I think we actually go ahead and we play the next bit. Let's play Fishy Business. Happy workers are vital for a strong economy, but the peasants aren't getting enough fish. The king wants you to scout the map and find a place to produce fish and keep your workers happy. Let's do it. Here we are. Greetings, loyal subject. A happy population is key to a strong economy. Inhabitants are not fully satisfied with their basic needs, but require luxury resources to be truly happy and fully productive. Fish is a luxury resource for the peasants, although personally I don't have a taste for them. The fish, that is, not the peasants. I guess it's understandable if your only other source of sustenance is potatoes. I have on very good authority there are bountiful fishing grounds around here. Start by building a basic economy, producing some scouting packages, and sending the knight to scout the south. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy. Okay, there we go. First thing we need to do is establish a basic economy, build 2 cities, one to produce wood and the other to produce potatoes. Let's do it. So let's go ahead, we'll produce ourselves not only wood, but we'll also produce ourselves some planks too. We'll just get a sawmill for that. I think that's more than fair. And we'll get ourselves a whole bunch of peasant buildings there. And we'll link up our castle keep. Now I do quite like having the roads off the forest. I don't think it actually matters in terms of traversal. I just think it looks nicer personally. And then let's get ourselves a whole bunch of potatoes, a whole bunch more peasant buildings. The towns are going to complain because we're building an awful lot at this one time. I don't care. We just want to get things set up, and set up they will be. Now, over here we need to build ourselves a provisioner, and we also need to build ourselves a research center. You might be wondering why I'm building it like this. Well, basically because we built these cities so close to the castle, we can't have the castle and castle buildings next to each other. If I go over to the peasant bit here, you can see here we can't build this adjacent to the castle building. A little bit of a shame, but it's okay. We shouldn't need much more than the provisioner and the upgrader anyway. Now, why are we going for upgrades? Because I probably will want to try and upgrade our potatoes and our wood pretty sharpish, just in order to get things produced pretty quickly. It's going to take a little bit of time for peasants to move in anyway, so let's just speed things up just a little bit until we get our cities both working. There we go. Perfect. And then it'll take a little bit of time for the sawmill to be built, but that's okay. Let's send out our knight to do some scouting. Yes, first thing to do is find the fish. As you can see, the area is quite rural, not well explored as of yet. You can use your knight to scout and reveal more of the map. Having very good authority, there's abundant fishing grounds to the south. Send your scout down there. So we're going to go down to the south, and in fact, we're going to go for this tile over here. That's fine by me. Yes, let's grab our knight, and we'll set him to scout. So we can only scout things that we can actually be adjacent to. So he's going to move down here, and he's going to scout that out. Fantastic. And then in the meantime, we're just trying to build up the sawmill. It does require a little bit of wood, but that's a-okay. Now, we might also build another town just to get some additional wood, because we will need it for our peasants as well as our sawmill. But we'll maybe think about that in just a wee bit. Whereas we have Sir Terowin moving out here and seeing what he can scout out. We'll leave him to it, and hopefully he'll be able to find some fish. We can see some fish here off the coast, but they're quite a bit distant. They're in the middle of the ocean, so we can't really... well, we can't really do anything about that. Unfortunately, we can't build, like, platforms on which to live on or anything like that. At least with our current level of technology. Apologies for that. Dog start barking there, as she is known to do. What? There's no fish there after all? I was told without doubt, 100% guaranteed there'd be some there. I guess that serves me right for listening to that wandering shaman. Oh well, lesson learned. In the future, only trust the old and test astrology. Tea leaves and animal sacrifice. Okay. Anyway, there should be fish around here somewhere. Send your knight to look to the north for fishing grounds. Looks like you're going to need more scout packages though, so don't forget to build a provisioner, which we already have. So they're turning our potatoes into some lovely scouting packages, which we're going to need in order to scout a little bit more. So we'll send him up there in order to scout that out. In the meantime, we all have the fishery already done. Let's think about what we want to upgrade. So I think we said we're going to get the lumberjack, we can get the potato farm, and then I think we go for the peasant and sawmill, because we're going to need a lot of these in order to upgrade. Specifically, we're going to need a lot of the sawmill, because we're going to need that in order to produce our planks. How are we doing in terms of our peasants over here? They're doing okay. It seems like they're getting enough wood. Well, you aren't, but hopefully Elm Ridge will be able to supply enough. Otherwise, we can always potentially build another. I'm tempted to build another town like over here by the sort of forest here in order to produce some additional wood. Do I just do that? Problem is that we're kind of a little bit hemmed in here is the only thing. Additionally, we could also just upgrade Elm Ridge so it produces more wood. Or when we get enough peasants, we could also like use the forest in order to do that. Let's also make sure that we're actually activating our modifications in order to produce some additional stuff. Just getting a little bit of an extra bit is very, very nice. I can see here this potato field is starting to get 6.2 or 6.5 potatoes, which is very, very nice. Meanwhile, our scouting a knight is still out there trying to find these fish, which he should be doing relatively okay. I mean, it does take us a little while to build up these scout packages, which is a bit of a pain. It does mean that our knight's going to be having to run backwards and forward quite a bit, but I'm afraid that is just the way things go. There we go. Yeah, so he's got 5 scouting provisions, so he can go out here and he can just try and scout as best he can. Meanwhile, our little towns are doing okay. Does seem like the price of potatoes has fallen quite a bit, only 3. I guess we probably have like quite a bit of potatoes. Yeah, we're producing 24 and we're not consuming that much, so we're going to have quite a lot there. Now, fortunately, something to keep the stockpiles lower is that we're going to have it being bought by the provisioner. So the provisioner is going to be purchasing some of these potatoes that are being produced by Eagle Watch, which is always quite nice. Cool. So we've got our first upgrade done, which is our lumberjack. So I think what we do is we upgrade one of the lumberjacks. We'll just do them one at a time because they do take planks and wood, and we don't want to crash the wood economy. I mean, we're having enough trouble getting the wood over to these guys as it is without just building a whole bunch of stuff. So let's not go too over the top. In the meantime, our knight is still scouting around, so that's good. We'll get him to kind of come over here a little bit more and scout these bits out if he could. That'd be fantastic, because we want to try and get these fish as soon as possible. Ah, excellent. So we've managed to get all the planks and all the wood for our first lumberjack upgrade. Great stuff. That will mean that we'll be able to produce quite a bit more wood. it is quite crucial to get these kind of early upgrades done. It's far better to have like very productive buildings rather than having a lot of buildings, at least in my mind, from how my experience has gone playing. So for example, it's better to have things really upgraded. You have like, say, like this guy with a forester or something else like that, to really centralize your production in like a specific tile. Mostly just because it, like, you know, it takes resources, and it takes time for your transporters to be able to move between various different things. So much so they can actually really struggle to keep up. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, other than that, things seem to be progressing quite well. We've managed to finish our potato farm. Potatoes currently I'm not too worried about because we're overproducing, but quite a bit per minute, which is great. Does mean that our provisioner is going to be kept very, very happy. I think instead what we're going to do is we want to just make sure we have both of these lumberjacks upgraded. The wood seems to be in a little bit of short supply at the moment, until we think about getting some additional wood cutting villages. But for now, I think we're okay. We're making a little bit of a trade deficit, which isn't great, but that's mostly because we're just buying things from our castle keep in order to keep our research and our provisioner up and running. Good for our little towns, but not so great for us. Or at least in terms of our balance. Right, Sir Terwin, you're scouting out. Let's see if we can get these fishing slots done. Alright, nothing there. That's a little bit of a shame. But, oh no, there's some fish there. Perfect. Wonderful, even. This seems like it's going to be a perfect place for us to put our next city in order to get ourselves some fish. Another good reason to get these lumberjacks upgraded, because we're going to need quite a few bit of planks, so making sure that we have enough wood to build the planks is going to be very, very important. There we are. Lumberjack completed. Good stuff. We'll get ourselves some additional peasant houses as well, so we can upgrade these ones here. You're actually struggling to get some of your potatoes, surprisingly. I wonder if we're maybe just... No, we should have enough. It's just the transporters might be struggling a little bit. Indeed, they are. Let's upgrade you to level 2. Just because you are struggling a little bit in transporting, because you're producing not only wood, but you're producing the planks. You have to move the planks into the town, the wood into the plank area, and also the wood into the peasant houses as well. So we'll update or upgrade that transporter. You know, we're talking about a transporter. We're not talking about Optimus Prime or something like that over here. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So we found another fishing ground as well. You found some good work. This place looks perfect. Build a city out here and get fishing. Excuse me, don't hang around. I can practically smell it already. Okay, let's build that up and make sure as well that we kind of connect this down via our road all the way to our other town over here. Elmridge and our new town of Maple Watch are now connected. Fantastic. What do we need to build a fishery? Well, it's going to take us planks and wood. So let's get 2 of them down. 2 peasant structures here. And I think just to give them a side hustle, we make it so that they can produce some wood as well. I don't think that's a bad idea. We certainly seem to need that wood quite a lot. I guess it's because we've only got 2 producers rather than the 3 ones we have for potatoes. Even if they are upgraded, it's just having less of them is going to be a little bit harder in order to get things working. Now, we still haven't finished up our peasant home research. I imagine it's because we're just struggling to get planks. It does seem like it, and I wonder if part of that is because we haven't been getting enough potatoes, but now that they have enough transporters, or they should have enough transporters in here, that should hopefully be a little bit lessened, or I certainly hope so. Now, I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that our treasury continues to go down. We don't really have much money left after building that other this other town, and also these fisheries are quite expensive. 500 gold each per fishery. Yeah, it does add up. But never mind, we managed to get some wood in here to Maple Watch, and we actually managed to complete one of our fisheries as well. So hopefully we get these peasant homes completed sooner rather than later. There we are, and we should get some people moving in. They will require imports, of course, from Eagle Watch in order to meet their potato demand, and we should see probably the potato price starting to rise a little bit as well, but we shall see. So yeah, here we are. The fisheries are completed, which should mean that we're starting to work on the fisheries as well, and we're also producing a little bit of wood, which is pretty good. Can't complain about that. That should mean that should be a little bit of trade between that and Elmridge, depending on how much wood is produced. At the very least, Eagle Watch will be able to import as much wood as it needs. I do quite like having 2 different production areas, or at least producing 2 kind of like goods in a town. It means they're not solely relying on the price of a single good in order to keep themselves afloat, shall we say. And so Terrawind's just continuing to have a little look for us, which is nice. I think actually what we'll do is we'll get him to scout kind of more around this area, kind of see if what those fertile lands are like. It would be quite nice to get some additional farming area, or potentially even some sheepies, if we can ever get that researched. But I think we're struggling just a little bit to get the enough stuff made in the sawmill. Probably because we're using quite a lot in our fisheries, and then anything else is being used up by the researcher. We'll see how Elmridge continues to do. Now, we could as well... How much wood do you have? You have a decent amount of wood. Yeah, 27. We could, now that we have the upgrade, we could build another sawmill, but we don't have the money for that quite yet, so I don't think we'll bother with that. How are we doing over here? Yeah, we're transporting some fish. The fish will mean that these guys are quite a bit happier, and if they're very happy, then they actually pay extra coins to their city, which is good. That means the city gets more money. If the city gets more money, it means they can trade more. If they trade more, we get more money. Nothing to hate there at all. So yeah, as long as we can supply our guys with our luxury stuff. Oh, and we found some iron up here. Very cool. Yeah, nice. Not as big and fertile kind of area as I was kind of hoping potentially, but never mind. I'm sure we'll be able to make do as best we can. Sorry about that. Dog seems to be going off on one today, but nothing we can do about it. Obviously, she's excited about trading, as I am. But yeah, we just need... Ah, there we go. Perfect. We finally got the last planks in. Should be our other fishery done, which should mean our peasants are able to work there, producing more fish, which will hopefully mean that Maple Watch is starting. We'll be able to start exporting soon enough. As soon as we can export, that means that we can start to get some more money. There we go. Now we've got the production going. The city will start trading excess fish. Let's purchase some for ourselves and store in our castle, which we can sell later if there's ever a shortage and people start to get hungry. You don't want unhappy peasants, let me tell you. I learned the hard way. The pitchforks, the torches, shudder. Okay, yeah, doesn't sound like the best thing in the world. So what do we need? We need 25 fish, so we'll just store 30 and we'll just buy some if we can. It's going to cost us a little bit. Oh, we found some stone. Cool. Very nice. Quite a bit of stone, actually. Which we can use to upgrade our buildings. Should we need to. Now, yeah, I think we're okay in terms of wood. Like, Emerald seems to be producing enough wood, which seems to be producing enough planks as well, about 10 per minute. And we are doing okay with our potatoes so far. It would be nice if we could continue to research this level 2 peasant's house, just so we could get some additional wood from here. Yeah, if we can upgrade these kind of like peasant homes, it means that then we can get some more guys working within these lumberjack areas. Now, part of me would just wonder if we just activate Forester here. It does mean that we're going to be missing a guy, but it does mean that it's going to produce an awful lot more as well, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. In the meantime, still producing a bunch of fish, which is great. And we should be able to purchase some for our castle keep soon enough. And Sir Terrawin is still gallivanting around, seeing what he can find in terms of places we could potentially put another city, although it seems to be a lot of mountains. Not that we have the money for it quite yet. We've still got to make sure that we are producing a decent amount in terms of tariffs on our trade. Eagle Watch probably being pretty big because it is the monopoly. In fact, it needs to be upgraded because there's a lot of things that the traders are doing. Let's get that upgraded. We can use the planks from the from Elmridge in order to get this upgraded. Seems like we're using some of the wood that we've got as well, which is good. Just keep those transporters in line, keep the traders in line as well. Maple Watch, how are you doing? You're kind of the same thing. I think we'll wait until Eagle Watch is fully upgraded, and then we'll try and get you upgraded too. I think that's probably the best idea. There we go. So Terrawin's still going on, which is good. Maple Watch, how are you doing in terms of production? Pretty good, pretty good. Let's have a little overview of the fish. We're currently making 16 fish in Maple Watch, and that's the resource trends. We're actually making a little bit more. That we can see here, the total production per minute is 20. The consumption that we require is 11 at the moment. And peasant home level 2 are finished. Good stuff. Can then start researching the sawmill, and that should help us out a little bit as well. You're saying you don't have any... Oh, I thought you said you don't have any wood. I'm like, my dear, you produce wood. How have you not got any wood? Like, you know, you should maybe just, you know, watch yourself a wee bit. But yeah, there we go. So good, you got all your kind of basic stuff that you need. In fact, these peasants are actually paying a little bit extra in terms of tax, which is also nice. You are struggling in terms of your transporters though, so we do need to keep that in mind. How are you doing over here in Eagle Watch? You're still waiting for those planks. I wonder if it's because we're using them in our research quite so much. Yeah, we'll have to see if these planks just get... Oh, no, they don't. They go swing on around to Eagle Watch. That's good. That's exactly what we want to happen. Rather than the research continuing, if we can get that over to Eagle Watch so we can alleviate their issues they're having with their transporters. Oh, that's a little bit of a shame. I kind of hope that this area would be almost a little bit better to settle. I swear all she's doing today is barking. But nothing you can do about that. We'll just carry on as we are. So yes, we got some fish that are coming over. We got some more in storage. We just need a little bit more and we should be fine. This is probably what's kind of degrading our balance ever so much, is the fact that we're purchasing all of this fish. In fact, we might be able to... we can sell it, certainly, for a decent price, should we need to. If we need to get a little bit more money. Ah, there we go, perfect. Our sawmill research is done. Do we then think about upgrading this? We can't afford it at the moment. Would be nice to get some additional planks, certainly. Just because, well, we kind of need them as best we can get them. Because we're using an awful lot, upgrading our various towns and getting things working. We are struggling a little bit when it comes to our finances, it must be said. But hopefully we'll be okay. We're just going to make sure the trade still keeps flowing. And we shouldn't have too much more problems because probably all the fish that we're kind of buying, we won't be buying that much more at the very least. Still can't buy anything else. But as soon as we get to 25 fish, we'll should have enough stored up. And that'll be good. How are you doing over here? We've got a bunch more traders coming in, which is good. And obviously these are all like color coded as well, so like you can tell who's who. So for example, like Eagle Watch over here has got the little pink wagons. We've got little brown wagons for Elmridge. And we actually found some clay. Good stuff. So we could use that. That's another resource we can potentially use in the future as well. Yeah, Maple Watch is really struggling in terms of transports, which isn't great. Not that keen on that, to be quite honest. But, yeah. We should probably try and upgrade you when we can. In fact, let's do that now. Can we upgrade the sawmill? No, we can't afford it as of just now. But hopefully we'll be able to afford it a little bit in the future. The good thing is as well, because we're telling them to upgrade, which does cost us money, but they still need to import these goods. So it's a good way of like facilitating trade between your towns as well. I'm just quite happy that these fishermen seem to be doing quite so good in terms of trade. And in fact, you can sort of see the prices. Eagle Watch are doing great. They have a monopoly on food. I would hope they're doing fine. Whereas Elmridge is doing okay. It has a monopoly on planks. That's kind of where it's happy. Obviously, Maple Watch isn't doing quite as good, but I think that's just because they're not quite producing as much fish as, say, the other two are in their respective goods. But fish does sell for a little bit better. Let's have a check the price. Yeah. Fish sells double for what potatoes do, and triple for what wood does. So that's pretty good. So yeah, we're currently selling quite a bit of the fish, and I mean, it produces 20. We're consuming 11, so we should be making sure that we have plenty of fish all around. There we go. Wonderful. I'm sure that fish, with the fish, the peasants will be happy in no time. Why wouldn't be? What luxury. Your work here is done. I start thinking you're getting the hang of this whole building thing. Keep this up, and you may even get as good as Mr. Nuts and I. Toodaloo. Okay, so there we go. Scenario finished. We're finished up. Perfect. Oh well, so there we go. That's the first two campaign missions for you. I think we'll probably call this episode here. One, because, well, we added in 2 missions rather than just the one that I was kind of planning on. And also because the dog keeps barking, I think we'll call it quits while we're ahead in terms of recording. But just want to say, big thank you for everybody for watching. Big thank you to the Burger Band for enjoying the videos. Hopefully you've been enjoying the Let Them Trade content. And big thank you as well to Spaceflower for, as I say, giving us early access and allowing us to kind of test the game out before it's been released. Really, really been enjoying it. And yeah, going quite well. I think next one we'll either continue to do some more campaign missions, or we might even do some free play. We'll probably do some campaign missions for the next one, and then some free play after that. But I just want to say big thank you to all members of Burger Band. If you do want to become a member of the Burger Band, you can do that. So if you follow the link down in the subscription, or if you click join button on YouTube, just gives you early access to videos as soon as they're uploaded rather than when their schedules come out. Just, you know, get to see them a little bit earlier, depending on how my scheduling is working. And yeah, a couple other benefits as well in terms of emojis. But just want to say big thank you to them, big thank you to everybody for watching, and until next time, take care.